Kakadosh Boker Or Masechet Batra Daf Yomi. This is Daf Samechalef Amud Aleph 61a1. The Mishnah comes and it says, "Hamocher et habayit lo machar et hayatzia," which means if you're going to come and sell the house, and you said bayit ze machul lecha, this house is sold to you, but you didn't say what is included in the sale, so you didn't sell the yatzia. The yatzia is basically like a small room which is annexed, which is right beside them. Means even though it's beside the house, you didn't sell that little tiny part. I don't know if you want to call it like a shed or a storage area. Even though it's opened to the house, it doesn't matter because it's separate. Or not the room which is inside of it, which they come into, which means even though it's in the house and it's open to the house and the entrance to the house, but it's like a storage. It's like a machsan. It's one of these storage places. Or not the roof. If it's got a ma'akef, it's got the roof has around it, this fence, which is already going to be 10 tfachim. Rabbi Yehuda argues and he says, if it has a tzurat petach to the house, which means it's got an entrance to the house, even if it's not going to be kavua, right? If it's not going to be 10 tfachim tall, the ma'akeh, it's not sold with the house. So says the Gemara, ma yatzia, what exactly is the yatzia? Hacha targimu, here they explain that it's an afta. After is basically a small building which is on the side of the house. And Rav Yosef said it's bitka chalila, which is basically a small building which is beside the house, which has a lot of windows for beauty. So it's like some type of a beauty place right beside, which gives it beautiful, like an entrance. Okay, lemandam, according to the mandam that says it's afta, which is basically a small building beside it. Lo mizdabna, that it's not going to be sold. Kol sheken bitka is not going to be sold because it's meant for beauty, right? But he says, but according to the mandam, Bidka Khalila, that it's going to be sold, even the beautiful building beside it, but after, right, that it's not going to be sold, but the after would be sold. So it all depends how you're looking at it. Okay? Tane Rav Yosef taught in a braita, Shalosh Shemot Yeshlo. There's three names to this Yatzia. Yatzia, Tzela, and Ta. Right? Ta was actually in the Bet HaMikdash. They used to have Taz, they used to have like cubbies. So this is like something which is beside the house. Yatzia Dichtiv was written Yatzia Tachtona. Chamesh b'amar rochba tzela dichtiv is written. Also, this is what the Bet HaMikdash HaShlishi, Bezrat Hashem, will be built. But tzlaot tzela el tzela. You have a picture there in the bottom, the footnote. Okay, and then it says shalosh u'shloshim pamim. Right? Tab is written v'ata kanei echad orech v'kanei echad rochav u'ben atayim chamesh amot. So again, we're all talking about the cubbies or these places which are meant for storage. V'yibaytemar, if you want, you can answer. Right, mehacha from another place also. Kotel hechal is shesh, v'ata shesh v'kotel ata chamesh. So therefore, you see from here that the building which is beside the kotels, right, the walls of the Bet HaMikdash are called ta. They're called these little cubs. So Amar Morzutra comes and he says, "V'hu davi arba amot." But that's only going to be if it's not going to be sold, but it dafka has 4x4 amot, because then it's considered an important place on its own, and therefore we're going to say that since it's important, it's not batel to the house, and it's not going to be sold with the house. So Amalei Ravina Morzutra says, Ravina to Morzutra, Ledi Dachta Marta, according to you that you say, Ad dehavi arba amot, until it's going to be 4 amot, Ela miata. So we're going to ask the following question, Gabe bor, to do with the bor. Ditznam, as we learned to the Mishnah, Lo et bor velo et dut, not the bor or the dut. Afal pi shekatav lo kaveruma. That means even though you came and you wrote the depths or the width of the house, still you didn't sell the bor and the dut. Hachanami, so to here, Ihavu arba amot, if it's going to be 4 amot, right? That means the board of a dut in. So therefore, I'm going to say that it is considered an entity in itself, right? And it's not considered part of the house. But if it's not going to be 4 amot, it's going to be sold with the house. So says the Gemara, can you compare both cases? Hatam over there, hatashmish lechud, hatashmish lechud. The board of a dut in the house, they have completely different reasons, meaning different usages. Right, you use the board and the dut for water, for this, for washing, but not for the house. The house is completely different than this. Hacha here, here the bayit yatzia, you use it for the same thing. You store things in the house, you store things in the storage. So if it's going to be 4 amot, it's considered a place which is important. And if not, no. Okay. Next part of the Mishnah said that you're not going to sell the room which is inside the house. So hashta yatzia lo mizdaben cheder mibai. One second. If you're not going to sell the yatzia, which is on the outer part of the house, so you have a doubt about the cheder which is on the inner part of the house. Samechala from Bet 61b. So says the Gemara Lo Tzricha. What are we dealing with? Even though the matzah lemitzre abrai, that you went and you sold, right, and you put the shtar mechira and everything on the outside, it's not included, which means that this is on the inside. But when I put the boundaries, I'm putting the boundaries on the outside, but it's not included. Rav Nachman, like Rav Nachman, Rav Nachman, Amar Ravua, if you sold a big, huge house, even though you gave him the outer outskirts, you gave him the outer dimensions, he just gave him the mitzarim on the outside, right? But be'emet, he was only mikaven to sell the house by itself, not everything else inside of it as well, like all the inner rooms or things like that. So what's the case? If you're going to tell me now that it's called a bait or a bira bira, so pshita, bait zabin lebira, he only sold him the house, not the palace. But rather, the lebira namika, even a bira is called a bait also as well. And kule zabin. So therefore, he sold the entire thing. So says the Gemara, Lotzicha, deruba kadule, the majority of people call it a house. And bait, that means they call a house and a bira bira. Ikanami, but some people also call the bira a house. So I would have thought to say he sold him the entire thing. He should have wrote to him that he didn't leave anything over. But he didn't write there. So Shemamina, they left things over for himself. Says the Nachman if you're going to sell a field to your friend, in a big valley, even though you gave him the outer dimensions, he just gave him the outer dimension, but he didn't include everything inside. So, what's the case? If you're going to tell me that he's calling a sadeh, a field, and a valley, a bika, pshita, obviously, sadeh zavinle, bika lo zavinle. He only sold him a sadeh, not a bika. So, but rather the bika namiko sadeh. They also call a bika sadeh. So he says, so therefore he sold the entire thing. So let's see the same thing that we answered before. Some people call a sadeh and bika, but some people call a bika also a sadeh. So I would have thought to say he sold him everything, kamash malam, from the fact that he should have written down that he didn't leave anything over, and he didn't write it that way. So obviously he went and he left something over. So tzricham, we need both. One more time, you need the case of the bait bira, the house and the big palace, and you need also the case of the sadeh and the bika, the field and the valley. Why? Why do I need both cases? And it was the exact same thing. So he says, if I only told you about the case of the house, each one has a different tashmish. A bira and a bait are two different tashmishim. A bait is to live in. A bira is for the people to go in within, the bnei abatim to go into this house. It's like a common area inside of the house. It's like the big apartment buildings. So the apartment buildings, the house is the house, which is the apartment, and then the building is the bira. So he says each one has a separate entity. Aval bika, but the valley, that's all the same usage. I would have thought to say he sold him the entire thing. But if you only told him the case of the bika, because he shouldn't have come and given him the mitzarim, he shouldn't have given him the outer dimensions. But a house, you had to give it to him. So lo matzale, you shouldn't have. So cool, for sure he sold the entire thing. Tzricha, that's why you need both cases that again, we're talking about that he left over for himself. So Kaman Azahad de Aman. So the Gemara now says, who does it go like that which we said, Rav Madi, the son of Bat Shemuel, Mishmed Abai in the name of Abai, anybody that writes, you're going to sell something to your friend, you have to write down. I didn't leave anything over. Kaman, who does it go like? Like Rav Nachman and Ravua. Like Rav Nachman in the name of Rabba Baravua. Why? Because if not, I could just say, listen, I just gave you outer things, but I didn't include everything. Fine. So now there's a story. Somebody comes and he says, I'm going to sell you the land of Bechia. Now, there's two fields which are called, right, the Bechia. So Ravashi says, he didn't sell them both. You've got two names for the same field, for the same thing that he sold. Yeah, but I only told him one. I didn't tell you both. But if he told him arata stama, fields, miut arata shtayim. So the minimum of two is, or minimum of plural is two. And if he told him kol arata, all the fields, kol arata di itle, lebar mitu, except for the ginot ukramim, except for gardens and vineyards. And if he told them ziara, all types of karka, which ziara includes all that, even then the ginot, even the gardens and the vineyards are included, except for bate ve'avde, except for the houses and the places of right? The slaves, okay, except for slaves. Avadim are like karka, so except for slaves. Elmaleh, and if he told him nichse, from the top 60 to 81, it says nichse afilu baterade. So properties include everything, even slaves. Slaves are included in properties, and even houses are included in properties. Have a wonderful day.